Donald Trump slams Pierre Poilievre as stupidly no friend of mine. Is this a favor that he's pulling for Pierre Poilievre to help save his political career, or is this genuinely how he feels? Ladies and gents, welcome back. We saw the polling on how Pierre Poilievre has been doing compared to the Liberals since Justin Trudeau has resigned his position. He has resigned and he's no longer Prime Minister. Mark Carney is now the unelected Prime Minister of Canada. Now, we're going to get into this, but before we do, I want to encourage everyone to head on over to the Do Something podcast. That's right, second channel going up, and the reason why is we're moving the long-form content over to there. There's been a lot of requests to bring other YouTubers together. This is going to happen on this channel, and so all the long-form content is going to migrate to that channel. If you're not subscribed, you're going to miss out. A lot of the content like this, the shorter videos, the 10-minute videos, they're going to stay on this channel, but a lot of the long form content is going to be migrating over there. So make sure you're subscribed. The link is at the very top of the description down below. Get subscribed and you won't miss out. Now, Donald Trump has come out and said he's not a big fan of Pierre Poilievre because of the things that Pierre has been saying. Now, is this in response to the popularity in the polls? We have seen the polling data in Canada really shifting towards the Liberals, but Donald Trump is saying that he'd prefer a Liberal in this segment that he was on Laura Ingram's show last night.
Liberal Party is going to win now in the next election, most likely. And they were down and out. Isn't that going to make them more hostile to us and possibly
I'd rather deal with a Liberal than a
for China, closer to Canada, and that would really put us in a bind.
The Conservative that's running is stupidly no friend of mine. I don't know him, but he said negative things. So when he says negative things, I couldn't care less. I think it's easier to deal, actually, with a Liberal.
It's actually easier to deal with a Liberal. Now, there's a lot to take away from that. Donald Trump, looking at Canada like he wants to take it over. Would it be easier for him to do it with a Liberal destroying the economy as the Liberals have been doing? Even the Winnipeg Sun is writing about this. Canada is digging its own grave. Total economic ruin. Of course, and this is no news to anybody who's been paying attention to this channel. Canada is at a breaking point. We have no one to blame but ourselves. We have chased away industry, stifled our economy and reckless policies, let ideology take priority over common sense. Well, who's been running on common sense? Well, Pierre Poilievre has been running on common sense, but he's detracted from that image recently because, well, he's been trying to distance himself from Donald Trump. Is that going to help him or is that going to hurt him? Of course, the Toronto Sun writing about this, and also National Post. Donald Trump says a Liberal would be easier to deal with than Pierre Poilievre. The U.S. president delivered a jab at Poilievre while on Fox News on Tuesday, saying that the Conservative that is running is stupidly not a friend of mine. Now, Pierre's been getting slammed in the U.S. media for taking this position, and basically, running a bad campaign at this point. Now, a lot of people saying, well, it's not even a campaign yet. Clyde, why are you commenting on it? We're in a campaign. What are you talking about? We know that the election's coming. We just don't know when. And the Liberals are doing their best to position themselves to win, and it looks like they're actually succeeding at that. Now, I've played a clip before of Patrick Bet-David in his podcast talking about this. Well, he had some follow-up on this. Jasmine Lane putting this on X, saying Patrick Bet-David responds to his viral remarks on Poilievre. This is what he had to say following up.
Let me just give my thoughts to the people who were not happy with what I said about Pierre Poilievre on how much of an elitist he gives me the vibes he is, and he's not going on other podcasts. And a lot of people responded back, and who the hell do you guys think you are? You're Americans, you're this. A lot of people supported the fact that you're right, he's not. He's a World Economic Forum guy, and, he's a apologist to Ukraine, recent support of Ukraine, what he's got. And then some are bringing up Max, and, Max, he is the conservative guy. He's the guy that some of the guys are excited about, but I don't think he can win. And that's what a lot of people are saying. Here's what I'll tell you. The common thread was that politicians in Canada are afraid to talk to Americans because they're worried that the Liberals will use them as hey, look at this guy. They're another person that's owned by Americans, and they're another person that's owned by this. If you're afraid to have those conversations, it just means you're not fit for the job. It means you're afraid. You're concerned. You're worried. God forbid. You're playing politics. Wear this color tie. You know how you watch these movies? What was that one movie with Zach Galifianakis with the other guy that they're running for president with Will Ferrell? Wear this tie. Wear jeans, because if you wear jeans and roll up your sleeves, it looks like you're a presidential and you relate to people, and wear this and wear that.
What he's describing is what I've nicknamed PR Poilievre, because it seems like he's been listening to the PR representatives, his PR firm in Ottawa, rather than listening to what people are saying and actually coming out and talking to people. Now, in all fairness, Pierre Poilievre does very well at his rallies. When he'll sit and he'll talk with every single person that wants to talk with him. The problem is those people are already voting for him. He needs to get out and talk to new people. This is why the recommendation of getting on podcasts would be a thing. Bring new voters to the polls. The Conservatives are already going to vote for you, and that's a thing. Now, what's happening when it comes to the campaign? Well, it turns out, Mark Carney's taken a lot of the fuel out of Pierre Poilievre's sails, or the wind out of his sails. In this case, it's the carbon tax. Now, of course, you can say what you want about this strategy. It's actually working. It's actually working, and it's rejuvenating liberals, because they're using this as a talking point. Exactly.
Political move, Mark Carney has officially axed the carbon tax, stripping Pierre Poilievre of the one talking point he's been clinging to like a life raft this entire campaign.
Of course, clinging to as a life raft. Now, this has been a big issue. Now, Mark Carney getting rid of the carbon tax has really done that. It's taken the wind out of Pierre Poilievre's sails, but of course, it's false. It's totally misleading. David Jacobs putting that out on X here. This is misdirection by Carney. Cancel the carbon tax was set at $80 per ton of CO2. Carney's proposed shadow carbon tax will mirror the European Union tax, which is set at $156 per ton of CO2. He hasn't gotten rid of the carbon tax. He's actually doubling it. He's doubling it, but it's not going to be something that's seen on the consumer side, which of course Pierre Poilievre is pointing out in areas in the conference.
Here's what I've got. This is the Liberal carbon tax law. This law cannot be eliminated unless Parliament resumes to vote it down. Mr. Carney could have asked Trudeau to do that months ago. Mr. Carney could have reconvened Parliament today to vote this law down, but he won't. He will keep the carbon tax law in place even while he temporarily hides the carbon tax from the gas pump.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not an axe the tax, it's a mask the tax. That's what's happening, but it has fooled voters. I believe that has been the case. Now you could say, Clyde, this is the Kamala bump. This is what's happening with the polls. That being the case, I believe it's different. I believe it's different. When Justin Trudeau was the leader of the Liberals, he was so largely unpopular that constituents in Liberal ridings were saying to their MPs, we like you, but we won't vote for you because that will be voting for Justin Trudeau. This was the case back then.
I mean, when you talk to people in your riding, what are your constituents saying to you?
There's a general malaise. There's a level of tiredness. The number one issue at the doors in Prince Edward Island has for a long time been healthcare. That's been supplanted by concerns over leadership, and people have had enough. They've tuned him out, and they want him to go. I can't tell you the number of people that have said to me, Sean, I want to vote for you, but I can't.
So I want to vote for you, but I can't. And this is the sentiment that was in the Liberal Party. But now that Justin Trudeau is gone, they are coming back to their MPs. They're coming back to their local MPs. This isn't a bump for Carney. This is a bump for local MPs that have regained support in their local ridings. This is what you're looking at. Now, of course, not all of it will be that, but I think a lot of the support is based on that. Now, that's obviously a contentious argument to give, and we're going to be having arguments like this over on the new channel. Be sure to subscribe, the Do Something podcast. Get on over. The link is at the very top of the description. Get on over there, because we're going to be having a lot of these political discussions over there with a lot of familiar faces that you know. Of course, we've partnered with Jasmine Lane. She's down for coming onto the channel very often, and also Ryan Hemsley, as well as many other YouTubers that you know. I've been talking behind the scenes to bring them on as well. So tune into that. I'd love to hear your opinion on this one. Is this a blunder? Is this a blunder for Pierre Poilievre, or is this Donald Trump actually helping out because he's so, there's so much derangement syndrome over here when it comes to Donald Trump in Canada? Is this going to help Pierre in the polls if people believe that he's not on the side of Donald Trump, or is this a legitimate move? Donald Trump would prefer to have the Liberals in, because it'd be easier to decimate them economically. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.